So today we're going to talk about our still life. A still life is a series of objects that you can set up that remain still on a flat surface, and we're going to draw all of them. What you want to do for your still life is you want to make sure that they are very simple shapes. I have put together some boxes are simple. Geometric shapes are what we're looking for. I've got some circles. You see a triangle, which I made. You can do anything you want if you are at home. Anything that is just different sizes. And you also want to set your still life up so things are overlapping. And there are tall things, short things, and things in front of each other. Again, keep it as simple as you want. You want to have between 3 and 5 objects. And how you arrange them is completely up to you. So this is my still life that I'm going to start to draw for you to show you how we're going to set up our abstract still life drawing. So now I'm going to start drawing my still life. Your paper can go in either direction you would like. For this particular one, I'm going to keep mine sideways because my still life is much wider than it is tall. I'm going to start with wherever I want, and I'm going to make it large. I want to use the entire piece of paper. In fact, I want to have some of my shapes going off the paper. So I'm going to start where I have a triangle. And I'm just going to draw the start of my triangle, and I'm having it go off the paper. And what I'm looking at is I'm comparing where one shape is to another one. I know that there's also a box right in front of this triangle. There's another box which comes into here. And it cuts back like so. And I'm kind of drawing it in a 3-dimensional manner. And I know that there's a large ball that comes right in here. I also have a box that's pretty much straight right here. And I know that there's another ball right there. Okay, so once I have my first still life drawn like this, the next step is to make this into an abstract still life, so it's really not recognizable. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw it again, but I'm going to turn my paper completely upside down. I'm going to draw the same still life right over top. You can rearrange it if you want, or maybe go from a different view. I'm just going to leave it just like it is, and I'm just going to draw it straight over top. So again, I'm going to start with my triangle. And I know that my triangle comes straight down like so. Again, I'm going to try and keep this large. It goes off of the paper. I know there's another box right here in the middle. I know I also have this other box over here, which cuts across like so. And again, I have the large ball going off the paper. And then right over here, I have another box, which is straight like so. And then I have the ball on top. And now I've drawn the same still life twice, except I've turned and rotated the paper. And the reason for that is the next step that we are going to do, which is going to be to erase some of our lines. You can erase any parts you want. What you want to do is think about combining all of these smaller shapes into large shapes. I like circles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start erasing bits and pieces of my drawing. Again, it is up to you. There is no wrong way to do this. So I'm getting rid of that. I'm going to also get rid of this part. And so now I have some interesting shapes here. Kind of like that. I'm not too keen about this part over here though. So what I'm going to do is get rid of some of this. Again, you decide what parts you want to erase and what parts you want to leave. But again, we want to kind of turn this into something that is kind of interesting to look at, and we're not going to be exactly sure what it is when we're done. And so what I want to do is when I'm done, I want to have a bunch of different interesting looking shapes throughout my picture. You are in total control of that, and I think for now, I don't like this line here, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to go back over this with a black Sharpie just so you can see it a little bit better to see the end product. And then we'll begin the shading in just a moment. And I'll talk to you about how you're going to do that. Okay, so here is my picture. I have erased all my lines, and now you can really see what my still life looks like. So it's basically an abstract version of a still life broken down into just simple geometric type shapes. Shading wise, you can use crayons, colored pencils, whichever you would like. I'm going to do a combination of both if you would like, or you can just stick to one. What parts are you going to shade? Whatever parts you would like. The key to focus on this, though, is what we want to consider is value. Value is how light or dark a color is. And we want to kind of keep it to having a light area next to a dark area. So maybe even doing the crayons and colored pencils next to each other might produce that, or you can do it all on your own with just one, as I said, crayons or colored pencils. So to begin, I'm just going to pick my colors and I'm just going to start to color it in. Any area you would like. Actually, I think I'm going to start with a crayon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this spot and I'm going to make this kind of a darker value. I'm going to have to move these. And I'm going to turn my paper because it's a little bit easier. And again, when we're talking value, we want to try and keep it the same value. I don't want to really shade it from dark to light. I want to try and keep it almost what we call a flat color, where it's no variation between the light and dark. And it's just one almost solid color. Okay, so there's a nice medium brown color. I'm going to take my colored pencil and I'm going to shade the area next to it. Now this one I'm going to make a little bit lighter, obviously because that spot is dark. And so I have a darker medium value next to a lighter value. And again, I'm trying to keep it so it's one solid color and there's no really light or dark areas. So now I have a nice light area and a darker area. Now I'm going to move on and we're going to make this a very dark area. And so how do you get value? It's all about pressure. The harder I push with my crayon or my colored pencil, the darker my value is. The less pressure, the lighter the value is. I'm only going to do a couple shapes here because I don't want to take up all your time and you don't want to sit here and watch me do this. But I got to finish this. And so now I have a very, very dark blue. And again, the darker it is, the longer it takes to get it to a nice solid color just because you have to push so hard. But it is nice to have that, and it's all about contrast. Light areas next to dark areas. Again, contrast. Light areas next to dark areas, and value, how light and dark your color is. So now I have a very dark blue, a light green, and a medium brown. I would continue to shade my entire picture in with this process. Can you leave some spots white? You could. I wouldn't leave too many white though because we want to get the color in here. Maybe this large area might be interesting and I just do all of the smaller shapes. That is up to you. But again, we do want to concentrate on contrast, which is dark areas next to light areas, and value, how light and dark your color is. And once you are done, you will then have an abstracted version of a still life that can be viewed in different directions. When you're doing it again, kind of turn it in different directions. See what is interesting as far as your design and your layout and which pieces you want to actually color in and what pieces you want to leave dark or light. And there you go. So again, you set up your still life, draw it in one direction, turn your paper completely upside down, draw straight through it, erase parts that you don't want, and then begin to add color using crayons or colored pencils. That is an abstract still life.